Hello all. So, dear Swami Mahayogananda decided to give me a parable that had me like, I can only do 10 minutes. How do you do that? So, it's from the Gospel, page 864, and referring to Dr. Sarkar, the master is laughing and says, "Is it not mentioned in his science that God can take human form? So how can he believe it?" And everyone laughs. Listen to a story. A man said to his friend, "I've just seen a house fall down with a terrific crash." And now the friend whom he had told this had received an English education, and he said, "Oh, just a minute. Let me look it up in the newspaper." And he read the paper, but he couldn't find the news of the house falling down with a crash. And thereupon he said to his friend, "Well, I don't believe you. It isn't in the paper, so it's false." I have to say, don't believe everything that is in the paper either. But I had a little bit of difficulty bringing this in context, so I'm going to add what was just before this was written. Ishan says to Dr. Sarkar, "Why don't you believe in the incarnation of God? You just said that God has form since he has created all these forms, and that God is formless since he has created the mind, which is without form. And a moment ago you said that everything is possible for God." And so when I read all this, my main thoughts were, this is about trust and faith and having an open heart and an open mind. How could the doctor doubt that God can take human form while being in the presence of Sri Ramakrishna? It's easy to ask that question. We would think that we would be aware of to be in an avatar's presence. How could we not, right? Well, maybe that is harder than we would think. Because let me tell you something about me. I moved here from Holland. I lived in a small town. I had little to no knowledge of Hinduism, let alone Vedanta. I didn't even know that it existed. And so I came here to the center, and I heard that Sri Ramakrishna was an incarnation of God, and I was shocked. I really was. It went against everything I believed and what I had grown up with. Jesus Christ was the Son of God, the only Son. And here comes Vedanta, and saying there's more than one avatar. I mean, it sweeps away everything that you think makes you grounded. So, that was difficult. But when I started to read and listen and learn, I saw that I was contradicting myself, because I started to see that Jesus Christ was an incarnation of God too. And that never dawned on me. And so that takes time, at least for me it did, and I can't imagine I'm the only one, to understand things. And that's why what Swami said, parables are so comfortable, because you learn so much about them. And I had to let go of that idea that there was only the one Son of God. And when I opened my heart and mind to the wonderful truth that God provides the world with his presence always, and sometimes in human form, I was in awe. It was wonderful, because finally I understood, or thought I understood. And so I talked a lot about religion, because everything was fairly new to me. And a week or so ago, I had a conversation with a minister from Glendale. And we talked about religion, and he is a very open-minded person. And he told me how much he loves the fun in religion, which I do too. To me, there can't be religion without having fun. And then he told me that sometimes he found it so difficult because some of his congregation had this sense of entitlement. They were good religious people, and they feel that because of that, nothing bad will ever happen to them. It's a sort of life insurance, because God had promised to watch over us. Well, it doesn't quite work that way, does it? Because Bimal, my husband, and I have been through a quite terrible ordeal not too long ago. And I'm not saying we're perfect Christians or perfect Vedantists, but, no one deserves that. So we didn't look at it as such. But what did happen was, first of all, when it happened, we decided it was a horrible attack. I will not go into detail. But the first thing after that, we looked each other in the eye and said, we are not going to hate. We cannot spend energy on that. And so we decided to not do that. And it was a very difficult time. But when we look back, we see God helped us one way after the other to get through this and to get even better and to have so much gratitude for what we have now. Sometimes we obviously needed that. But that's how it goes. And so that to me is a wonderful insurance, that if you believe, you only have to ask and you receive. And for me, this is where believing becomes trust and trust becomes knowledge. I believe in God and I trust that He will guide me and hold me close. And I know that He loves me. In A Light to the West, the life and teachings of Swami Prabhavananda, which I can highly recommend you read, he refers at one point to one of my favorite hymns, and it goes like this, and don't worry, I'm not going to sing. No, really. I know there has to be listeners and there has to be beautiful singers. So let's take our place. But this hymn goes like this. He walks with me and He talks with me and He tells me I am His own. And the joy we share as we tarry there, none other will ever know. And for me, this is what religion is about, to feel the presence of the Lord and to enjoy it. To sit on our front deck at home, watch hummingbirds at the feeder, and see the hawks soaring through the sky, and we're in awe. And it's at moments like that, nothing else comes in your mind when you watch that, and that is the most peaceful moment that you can have in my view. And so back to that parable, it feels to me that the doctor who refuses to believe that Sri Ramakrishna is the human incarnation of God missed out on a lot of fun, being busy defending his belief. Ramakrishna made light of this and poked fun at him. And to me, that is more or less a confirmation that we shouldn't take ourselves too seriously. That doesn't mean we shouldn't care. I don't think we need to carry the weight of the world and if we try to be mindful and helpful in our day-to-day experience. And this may sound like I have it all figured out. Nope, I'm just starting. I'm trying to constantly learn by reading, by talking to the wonderful holy company that is here at the Society. And sometimes when it gets confusing, I try to let go. And hopefully it will dawn on me what the confusion is about. I'm trying not to overthink it. It's a bit like the following. We were doing karma yoga in the greenhouse living room, and someone asked Swami Chitbrahmananda, how do we deal with the fact that people will praise us for our work, since the whole idea is that it purifies the heart by teaching you to act selflessly without thought of gain or reward? And his answer still sticks in my memory because it is so simple and yet so helpful. He said, when someone gives you praise for the work that you've done, you say thank you and you give it to the Lord. That's literally how he did it. You say thank you and you give it to the Lord. And ever since he said that, I try to do that with everything. And for me, it works. So maybe give it a go. By the way, I can't resist. This is an open invitation to come and join us for karma yoga. it's great, and you are most welcome, and Bimal is happy to talk to you about it. When dear Swami Mahayogananda asked me to speak on this topic, I wrote him back that it would be no problem. Well, that was a bit of an overstatement. I actually found it really hard to put my thoughts in this short amount of time, and there's so much more to be said, but enough is enough for now. So thank you for listening to me, and may the Lord bring you joy, love, and peace in your heart. Jai Ma.